Hello and a warm welcome. My name is Stephan Petrowitsch. I'm the director of the award-winning movie Miracle of Life Force and also of our new movie Self-Healed, which is till now only available in the German language. So many people ask me about spiritual problems, and so I made a first movie, and I'm very happy about all the positive reactions about that movie and also about the questions which reached me through personal messages. So we live in a time which some call the Corona crisis, and others they say that it is much more. It is a crisis of the whole political system. It is a crisis of whom you can believe. And it is a crisis on how people react of what's going on. And we see a lot of reactions which we thought 80 years ago was the time to react like this. But it's still the same today. And so the question for every spiritual being is what to do with this reality, what to do within this reality. And so I just said for every spiritual being, I just have to explain what I mean by that term. And a spiritual human being for me is someone who already realized that he or she is more than this tiny little human body. He is consciousness, he is a soul, and this soul will also continue living when this body dies. So this leaves out many people, and I want to take more of humanity into this field of definition. Who is a spiritual being? Even if you are not aware of all that, you behave like you are aware of that. For example, someone doing agricultural work, and he has animals, and he treats animals as living beings with emotions, with feelings, and so he treats them like he wants to be treated. This is a spiritual, he or her is a spiritual being because he treats the world as he wants to be treated. And if you look behind me, you see fields, and on these fields you see no flowers at all. So these fields are obviously treated not as living beings, because the people who do that kind of work are focusing on their personal earnings, on their personal gain, and they put obviously some poison on the fields, some kind of poisons to destroy other plants, to destroy some insects or other animals. And they claim it's necessary because we are more than 7 billion people on the planet, and we need to all that chemicals and technical stuff. And maybe they are true, but there are other people who say that there are very high developed organic techniques of doing agricultural work. So it's not necessarily true, and I assume most of the people in agriculture have never tried the other way. Many knowledge got lost the last 100 years. So you see in this very tiny example what spirituality can mean. Someone working in a bakery and treating his customers or her customers with all his or her love, to the best of his or her knowledge, can be a very spiritual work. So please don't limit that to a special belief, to a special belief system, to a special organization or whatever. There are a lot of spiritual people on this planet, much more than we believe. So to go back to the question which I was asked, what to do with or within this reality. There are some philosophies sorry, that tell us that everything we see is Maya, illusion. And in a way it's right, because today we know that 99.99% of everything which we see is vacuum. So it's a little bit an illusion, but it's not empty. Some parts of science tell us it's empty, some other parts tell us some other physical models. And it seems that these physical models are much more true than everything else which was taught us in schools. One of that physical models was taught in Germany under the name global scaling from Dr. Hartmut Müller, an East German scientist who worked in Russia for many years. And out of the research, which was the largest basic research maybe in the history of mankind, of Simon Schnoll, he developed that theory, that physical theory, and you can apply it on everything which can be measured, like sizes, weights, frequencies, and everything what you can measure with numbers. And the German doctor extended that model, extended it to the level of the very subtle. So what in the past was a little bit like spiritual, new age, not proven, within that new model, extended model of global scaling, we see that the very tiniest, which might be only consciousness, soul, experiences of our ancestors, is connected to the largest structures, which is our galaxies, our universe. And somewhere in between, in a very small part, we live, we human beings, with all the plants and animals on our planet. So this research shows there is a real strong connection between everything, and most of the time we are not aware of that connection. But a real spiritual teacher can lead you into experiences where you can get much more than a glimpse of that connectivity. And so I want to suggest that you go on a search to find a real spiritual teacher. In my experience, it's not the most well-known names, and I suggest you go on a search, and it's a good idea to start with our movie Miracle of Life Force. You find a few people around the planet, and right now we are starting the editing of Miracle of Life Force 2, where we have visited other parts of the planet, and also in some cases the same parts, but found other really outstanding people. So what I want to say is what to do with the reality, what to do within the reality. Does it play any matter for your life as a spiritual being? And I think it's very important to be steadfast in the truth. You cannot be or claim to be a spiritual being and you accept all the lies in this world. So I want to give you one example. Maybe a year ago it was very common to go on demonstrations. It was called Fridays for Future. It is very obvious that on this planet there are two sides, a good side and a bad side, an evil side, a positive side and a negative side. And so a spiritual being should at least try or strive to find the truth also on this level, in my opinion. And if you go back to my example, I wouldn't say it's completely on the negative side. I wouldn't say it's completely on the positive side. Saving on our environment is a very important aspect, but the question is always, when an organization like this, and it became an important organization and a big organization, when it does all that political stuff, is it based on true facts? And maybe the name gives some people a hint. Friday for Future. 3 words starting with an F, and an F is the 6th character in the alphabet. So it's 666. Some people know something about the meaning of numbers, and that might be interesting for you. For me it was interesting what they wanted. They wanted to shrink the freedom of people in many cases. So it's an outside force which cuts your freedom. Instead of developing your consciousness that you decide what you do. That is not what I would call a spiritual attempt, because spiritual for me also means you have the right of freedom, and you have the right of a lot of freedom as long as you are not limiting the freedom of others, as you are not destroying the health of others, as you are not destroying the wealth of others, as you are not destroying the life circumstances of others. There can be a lot more examples. So, what to do within this reality, what to do with this reality? It's not our task to fight against each other. No, when I travel the world, and I traveled a lot, and I was on all continents except Australia right now, I experienced that 99% of the people, independent of religion, independent of their personal worldview, independent of what their job is or what their political direction is, 99% of the people are very loving and caring people. The most poor people which I met were in Africa, Burkina Faso, and these were the most friendly people, and they were so willing to help me, and they were so honest. I haven't seen that on the rest of the planet. So my suggestion to answer that question, what to do within this reality, what to do with this reality. Find the truth in all levels, in the spiritual level, which you can reach through meditation or through the help of gifted people, find the truth in this reality. Because you cannot live a lie here and believe that it's not important and you can reach the highest levels of consciousness while you live a lie. So it's a contradiction. So thanks for listening. If you want to get more information, this is mainly a German channel. So if you subscribe to the channel, you will reach messages about a lot of German videos, but you can subscribe to the English newsletter of our English website of Miracle of Life Force, and then I will send a newsletter whenever I send a new movie. And I look forward to see you again. Thank you very much for listening.